unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
If you're looking for COVID-19 testing, look into Quest, the lab that's processed over 25 million tests and counting. You can get the same test hospitals use without a doctor visit. Simply order online, select from drive-through or at-home options, and get results sent securely to your phone or computer. It's experience and accuracy you can trust from Quest, the largest medical testing lab in the country. So order today at questcovid19.com. That's questcovid19.com.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's Unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts.
All right, it's Monday, April 13th. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
And well, today was Easter, so Jesus saw a shadow, so 6 more weeks of quarantine. Or how's that working this year? Or... I stole that from a meme. I don't care. That shit was funny.
That was good. That and the what is it? Oh Jesus, the picture with everybody at the table.
Oh yeah, the Last Supper just says canceled.
Yes,
it's empty.
Yeah. Well, there was that one, and then there's also the Zoom call Last Supper, where it's just Jesus at the table, and then everybody's in boxes above them.
I have not seen that.
Everyone, yeah, and it's like, hello, are you on, Judas? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, so it's the weirdest Easter ever. The Easter where nobody did anything. We all just hung out at home.
I mean, as you could tell from me trying to call up religious imagery, I didn't grow up with this shit. And Easter, with nobody else out celebrating it, just whizzed right past me.
Well, to me, someone who's
it's totally useless and weird holiday for me.
Well, for me, I was brought up Catholic, and I've been recovering for 20 plus years. Today I thought of, hey, this is how the rest of the world views this Sunday. It's just regular Sunday. Hey, Catholics, this is what Easter Sunday is like for everybody else.
Yeah, the most that Easter affected me was that I spent some time trying to figure out, do I normally get a day off around this time?
Right, yeah.
It's a holiday. Do we take the Monday off?
No, generally no.
God damn it.
It's generally where your kid's school vacation is connected to, but not this year.
Yeah, I was saying that, but aren't they just usually on spring break around that time?
Yeah. Around
Easter anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That doesn't really jive, does it?
It depends. I noticed it used to be that way, and then as I got older, it seemed to be only Catholic schools connected it to this, and then spring break was in March for public schools. I don't know. It's whatever. School's been over for a month anyway, right? Officially over. Yeah,
well, I heard in New York they're debating about whether they're going to go back to school. I'm like, what?
How? How is this even?
We called it in Michigan, and in New York, you're thinking that you can.
Yeah. Little Italy, and not in a good way. And when you bring up COVID, we're still going to have school in New York? Come on.
Yeah. And really, I mean, the state of all of first through 12th grade learning in this country is really so poor that it can be easily replaced with online learning. The trick is to have parents who are bought into it, because you either have the parent who just throws her hands up and says, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, or you have the parent that is over parenting and thinking that they know best. And you don't really have this as tight a community between the parents and the schools as you used to. You're either checked out or you're butting heads constantly, it seems like.
Yeah, you either don't care or you know more than the teacher.
Right.
There's no in between.
Yeah. So I think that, we should just have a national program for homeschooling and just make it an option available to everyone. It's just that if we did that without doing something about the culture of how we raise our kids, then and find some median between checked out parent and helicopter parent, then I don't see that as being successful, because there'll just be too many kids that fall through the cracks right now.
Yeah, and then too, there's things like poverty.
Yeah. I guess what what I'm trying to say is, like, strategically, like, on paper, you could totally make this work. Culturally, we do not have it.
No.
If this was China and they were like, we're going to all online learning, I'm like, yeah, they're probably going to be, have the, it'll be all VR, but it'll be like locked onto their head for 4 hours a day.
I was going to say, as a race I was going to bring up, we are not China nor Japan. We could not pull this off.
Yeah, we don't really prize overall as a country education and facts and solid information anymore.
No, we do not.
We know better than the schools. Harvard just pumps out clones.
Yeah,
I have street experience.
We all have an internet connection. We know better than anyone trying to tell us anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and for most jobs, for most things in life, you know what? Having some street knowledge is going to serve you better than going to Harvard. But turns out if you want to actually do something to change something in this country, or not necessarily, I use Harvard as an example, but just higher education in general, if you want to actually do something, you're going to need some higher education. Nobody wants a street smart doctor.
Turns out just pointing out something isn't fixing it. It's crazy. Oh, speaking of crazy.
So things are going kind of crazy here in Michigan. And there's it seems like we have one of the more severe lockdowns at this point. Do you feel that to be correct? Or
allegedly?
Or is it just that I get more weighted Michigan news in my news feed?
You get more weighted Michigan. No, trust, the things I have seen on social media this weekend have led me to believe I am not to as much right politically as I thought. Because holy the next
Are they
person,
calling her Whit-ler? No, I can't even say Hitmer. Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
It might as well.
It doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it?
You would think she sprouted a little black mustache, like the things that people are comparing. First of all, the next person that says tyranny when they're talking about this shit, you and your family get to go outside first.
Yeah.
This is like I was explaining it to my wife today. Like, the reason I have no problem with any of this is because I have been food safety certified for 20 years, and I know how to avoid infection and getting people sick. And everything they're advising us to do is based in that. It is based off of how not to get yourself sick. It's based off of stuff I've known for 20. I have no problem with any of this. And dude, all right, the craziest meme I saw, I swear to God, I don't remember the steps in between, but the first line of the meme was, just stay inside. They say it's for your own good. And then the last three lines were like, let's go to the internment camp. They say it's for your own good. Just get in the boxcar. They say it's for... I'm like,
right.
Really? Really?
A meme where they're trying to illustrate the slippery slope.
Yeah. Like, we're comparing stay inside so we don't all get sick and die to the Holocaust. Really? Really? That's where we're at now?
Well, who was it that... did you watch Bill Maher's show this weekend? Okay. While most of the jokes were completely forgettable, and look, I've talked about this before, the monologues and stuff don't really do it for me with Bill Maher. I just like the guests that he has on. He had some really strong guests. Everything else is forgettable, and it just it gets worse when he's doing it from home with the fake laugh track. But help me remember, because somebody pointed out the fact that if you think that this is an opportunity for tyranny to make a power grab, namely those in power right now, Trump and his cronies, then why aren't they doing it?
Yeah.
There's no evidence. As a matter of fact, that it's like during these opportunities where people are crying for somebody to come in and be quote unquote daddy and just toss some money at the problem. Give some, just make sure that everything, like at all costs, like I'm going to take care of it, right? That would be the role of the tyrant, the dictator.
And if any party was going to do it, wouldn't it be this party, the one that's in power?
Yeah.
And that been the narrative for the last decade plus?
So, I mean, I don't know that that's out of the question, if it was orchestrated, but to say that this was orchestrated as an opportunity, it just makes no sense because the government didn't respond properly to it.
Yeah. Well, too, and even when he's asked about a national lockdown,
if this was all scripted,
I
you have a
believe in
lot
the
of people
Constitution. Yeah, what you just said too. Yeah, a lot of people that didn't go by the script. A lot of people that went rogue.
Yeah, so there would be something more of a coordinated effort and a more driven effort to we're going to keep you safe no matter what, right?
There'd be a lot more National Guard if there was going to, you know what I'm saying? There'd be a lot more National Guard out if this shit was going to happen.
Yes, and Trump would not be arguing about when we're getting back to work. He would be for this lockdown. He's like, yeah, fuck it. Let's lock down the whole economy. Then when we restart it, we can lock down the economy for months and then restart it after all the small businesses have gone belly up, after everyone's struggling and on some sort of federal assistance. We have them in our pocket. Now all my friends get the contracts for the new businesses that go up when we reopen the economy.
Yeah.
And we just keep churning out this, coronavirus has gone away, but it's probably coming back, so we still have to do all these. You'd see some form of competence.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen any of that.
Well, the scarier part is we've seen more of that stuff out of the Democrat governors, but everything seems to have switched lately.
Right. And, I don't have the feeling that Whit-ler is doing a power grab. I mean, what does she have to gain out of this?
Yeah, no.
What does Whit-ler have to gain out of telling people that they can't buy seeds or they can't go from one of their residences to the other? Which, by the way, my kids are going to be breaking tomorrow when they go back to their home.
Yeah, but that's not it. They're not coming over for a party. You're their dad. They're coming over to stay with you, and then you're taking them back to go live where they live with their mother.
Yeah, but she's really trying to lock down any kind of travel like that as well. If you have, if you're staying, because I think a lot of people were just to try and beat the monotony of living in the same place day in and day out. We're saying, I'm being careful and these other members of my family are being careful so we can all go back and forth to each other's. And it's generally safe, yeah, and I think it's within reason, honestly, but I see the point in saying, well, you're just introducing variables, things that you can't control, right? A car breaks down, you need help, you have to get somebody comes and tows you, somebody comes and picks you up, a lift. Now you've been in contact with 2 more people, 3 more people that are possible vectors.
Yeah, no, those people are tards. Pardon my language, but I have not physically touched my mother. That sounds weird. Since March 22nd.
Are you willing to attest to that?
Yes. Well, no, I haven't given her a hug. That's the last time. Like today, we talked to each other, staying 6 feet apart.
When did you stop touching your mother?
Exactly. But yeah, I gave her a hug on her birthday. That has been it. Even today, she tried to open. Today, it's Sundays. I go out and I get her. I had to go get a prescription for her today. Today, she tried to open the door and like, Mom, leave the door shut. Come get your stuff. Like she wanted to talk to me, and then finally she came outside, and I was like 5 or 6 feet away. I'm like, Mom, we can do this. You want to stay here and talk to me? We can do this. But, I just went to the grocery store. You can carry this thing for 5 days. I wore them, but who the fuck knows? Again, I'm not taking all these precautions for me. I'm taking them all for her. And like you said, I've been out. Mandy goes to get cigarettes once a day. Who knows if she's bringing it back or she has? But I'm not putting her in that. I'm not doing. I'm not going to be like you said. Everybody else was talking about it's not. Oh, we're being careful. Can't happen to us. No, we don't know because there's shit that happens we don't think about. You probably came in contact with somebody and it didn't even cross your mind. Something as simple as you went and got gas. And you could.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
But everything is a decision, like a risk, I should say. Mm-hmm. And I'd keep my kids here if it wasn't for the fact that now there's something wrong with my car. So I don't have a functioning car all of a sudden. I have to figure out how to fix that. So my kid, it's only 15 minutes away. Their mother has a really well-working car. She's not going to break down and run into trouble or anything like that. So they're better off there with their mother where she has good transportation if something happens. I don't want them to, I know we're not supposed to go anywhere, but I don't want them to be stuck here or me not be able to go out and get food for them and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they are here, then I'm relying more on having people deliver food here to me, doing something like either getting a lift to go get food. Now, that's another person, another vector that I'm introducing. Or even if I was just to have their mother shuttle me stuff over here, that's still another vector, and I'm putting her at risk and me and everyone. So anyway.
Well, see, and all this, that's one thing.
I don't mean to ramble about like my personal stuff, but it's all examples of the thought process that we're all going through now, or at least I hope that we're going through. And if we are reasonably going through this, then we can make the decisions about which ones are the critical things and not have to rely on the government saying, don't go from house to house and don't buy seeds.
You know why she had to do that? I'll tell you why she had to do that. Because the first place I had to stop today, I was like, I'm going to get coronavirus. I was so glad when I had to go to a Walmart today, and I had to go to the Walmart at 12 and Gratiot. And you do still live here. That's the closest Walmart to Detroit on the east side.
Yeah.
And it's just, let's be honest, it's World War I where all the working class folks go. It's the Walmart where we live. Parking lot was packed like normal Sunday. Everybody in there. I look like the freak because I had a mask on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, normal Sunday in this Walmart. And I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, like, oh my God, I'm going to get the coronavirus. Like, just looking around at everybody there. Like, and when that pharmacist told me I was at the wrong Walmart, I was like, thank God I ran out of that bitch. And then the one that my mom's prescription was at, there was barely anybody there. Everyone was all masked up. Even the staff.
I was going to say, in the suburbs, everyone's wearing masks and doing the whole 9 yards. You see them, the people that work at the Aldi's by me, they have shields now. They have lines, and they're going to start instituting these, so many people per square foot rule as well. And this is interesting because we are hearing a lot of stories now about how minorities are unduly affected by this disease, that the death rates are double in some places what they are for middle-class white Americans. And people are looking at this as another example of racism in America. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it is the biggest thing that separates us. Like we always talk about, it's not race, it's money. Mm-hmm. And it's just that we've shoved a lot of people of certain races into that class of not having too much money. So it's not like black people have something about their physiology, about their something that's in them that makes them more susceptible. It might be partly about just lack of proper health care in the areas that they live in anyway. And again, we're not talking about all black people who live in poor areas, but if we're talking about predominantly black poor areas, yeah. And but I think most of this is just the distrust of information in general.
I was going to say, I just wonder if it's a cultural thing with that. It seems with the lower your income, the higher your distrust of the government is.
Yeah, and it's kind of both the poverty thing and the race thing, because there's a lot of poor black people that have a narrative of don't trust whitey. And some of them, are saying that from experience. They've been personally fucked over by whitey. But if that's all you see up there on the news is whitey telling you, well, we've heard it all before. I don't see any coronavirus around here.
But to even maybe, again, to play on the poverty thing and not the racial thing, I stopped at a liquor store last week, and it was in a super working class area, and it's kind of right around where I grew up, and it just looked like, it seemed like the the less you made, the less you cared about it. Like, I'm watching dudes in big old trucks in their work boots getting out, no mask. I was the only person in this store that probably had a mask on. And it seemed to be working class people or young people, and they gave no fucks.
Yeah, well, think about how the breakdown of Michigan is. If we look at people who are liberal and generally are trusting of their government and the media, that's a really small population. That's like it's not even the inner cities, it's the suburbs immediately around the inner cities, right?
And anywhere there's a college. In Michigan, that is.
Yes, yeah. Outside of that, inner city might be liberal, but still doesn't trust the government or the news. And outside of the big cities, mostly Republican and mostly distrusting of the news and definitely of government.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
I think the idea that we can't purchase seeds in Michigan, it's not like, they're shutting down the gardening stores and making them not essential, if there are even any of those anymore. There used to be gardening stores, right? Now it's just everything's at Lowe's or a big box store of some sort. Mm-hmm. There was one particular chain that I was thinking of that I can't, it's somewhere in my head. But anyway, it's not like they're just shutting down that. This is having a section of a store that sells many other essential goods, water, food, paper towels, and toilet paper. But the seed section has just been roped off with signs saying that it's not essential and you can't purchase it at this time. And
I don't care.
Okay.
Well, the people who are complaining about it, big fucking deal. Like, unless you're a farmer, who cares? Unless this is how you're making your money, who cares? I can appreciate
if this situation that you find yourself in makes you think about how you could use some of the land that you own or rent to grow food on for your own self, and that would ease the situation for you, that's a good thought. And you should act on that. But guess what? It's not going to happen overnight. We're going to be out of quarantine before anything sprouts. So this is kind of something that you have to plan ahead. It's not something that you run out to the Walmart, shove a few tomato seeds in the ground, and next weekend you're cutting them up for salad.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the pushback to it. I also don't understand the policy, though, either. And it's not, government policy shouldn't just be made on like, well, what difference is it going to make? There needs to be a valid reason for doing something. So to specifically call out seeds. And again, it's not just like these stores sell seeds, but they're not considered essential. It's specifically banning the sale of seeds during this time is really puzzling.
Maybe it's to stop the factories that make them. That's the only plausible thing I can think of.
The only thing I could come up with, and this isn't even fully fleshed out either, but the militias, maybe, we have those like self-sustaining segments of the Michigan population that like to live off the grid and away from the government eye. I don't know. Whereas, and it's not just, this seems to be just a Michigan thing. Other places, I think it was in Vermont, they were saying, no, seeds are essential. We're considering this part of food. And
another thing I read, people are pissed about the golf courses. Like, I'm a golfer. Trust me, being all these nice days, sure, I've been looking out the window, like the Kermit meme, with my hand on it.
Yeah.
But still, like, I want to live. I would like to say I lived through 2020.
But
I don't care.
There's two things here. When it comes to seeds, there's, first of all, if you have a home garden, then it gets you out of the house in a way that is totally legal and not infecting anyone else. It should be encouraged. And if you are producing any sort of crop, even if if you just have a healthy rotating garden for your own friends and family, that's something that you keep on a cycle, right? Like any farmer, it's just on a smaller format. I don't know what any of the cycles are, but there's certain crops that you grow at certain times of the year, And if you miss that, then that's it. Then if I miss my window to plant cucumbers and tomatoes, I don't get any more cucumbers or tomatoes. Mm-hmm. It's not like I can just wait till the quarantine's over, because that time has passed. The season has passed for that. So I don't know. Overall, I can make more arguments as to why they're definitely not deemed essential. They shouldn't. I can't see a good argument for them being banned for sale.
How many people cared about seeds before the governor told them they couldn't buy them?
There's probably a lot of people that are just upset about this because it's another way that they see that the government is trying to tell them what they can and cannot do.
Tyranny,
and it doesn't reflect them. It doesn't affect them directly.
She's so tyrannical. She wants us all to live. What a tyrant!
There's plenty of people. There's plenty of people. There's plenty of home gardeners and small farmers in Michigan, and they are directly affected by it.
Yeah, unless you're a commercial farmer.
I think commercial farmer is different.
You'll be good till June. You'll.
Well, right, but commercial farmer doesn't go to Meijer to get seed packs. This would only really affect small home gardens.
Yeah. So what's everyone?
But again, like, you should be promoting that. I mean, if I owned this place and I was any good at gardening, I would consider growing food in my backyard, because then maybe I wouldn't have to worry about the local store being out of lettuce.
Man, you're settling in for the long game, huh?
No, I mean, just being forward thinking. If we're going to have a situation like this again, or, on a seasonal basis, be better prepared. So I don't know. But overall, I don't feel like what Whit-ler is doing is draconian.
And by the way, she didn't say we couldn't mow our lawns, people. She said no lawn crews. Everyone's acting like she said we couldn't mow our lawn. That's not what she said.
Oh, did she say that?
She said no. Yeah, she said lawn crews, you're done. Things like, and people are thinking that, she said we can't mow our lawn. It's not what she said. So, and again, you're having all of these people who are acting like they're taking away like she's taking away their jobs and there's not any safety net. I mean, again, there's unemployment right now. Anybody can qualify for it, and you're getting extra $600 juice from the government. So yeah, if you're on a lawn crew and you're pissed you don't have a job right now, yeah, it's going to suck for the next couple of weeks, but there's a safety net for you.
Well, it depends. I mean, I think a lot of lawn crews are under the table.
Well, that's another conversation of you knew what you were getting into when you took under the table job. But yeah, that's not the conversation we're trying to have right now.
No, yeah, I get you. I wasn't trying to throw a monkey wrench in your argument. But
it's got to suck if you're those people. I mean, my wife talks about someone she used to work with at the bar she used to bartend at. A woman's worked there for 20 years under the table. And right now, she is fucked. She hasn't been filing tax returns. She's not able to collect any of this unemployment. So yeah, I feel for those people, and I don't feel for those people. Because when you take a job not on the books, you know there's a risk you're always running.
Sure. Yeah, you get to not pay taxes, and in return you get none of the benefits. Mm-hmm. So you chose not to play the game.
Now the game's playing you. But anyway.
Yeah, so I guess I was just looking at a story about the seed sale issue in Michigan, and Lee Chatfield, which if you don't know, he is the Michigan Speaker of the House. So I guess that would make him the highest ranking Republican in Michigan. That would, outside of our representatives in Washington.
What do you have to say?
In Michigan, these are currently not allowed. Lawn care, which you already addressed. Lawn care is allowed, just not lawn crews.
You can't have a group of people come to mow your lawn.
Construction, which I've questioned, I think came up on the show before. Like, is it really not possible to get some small crews of guys together to at least, take care of the potholes?
Well, I'm not
expecting you to repave I-75.
Well, I think this all falls under. I mean, she tightened up to no gatherings. So, I mean, this would technically be a construction crew is a gathering.
Buying home improvement materials. Yeah, I agree with that, because what happens with a home improvement project? What do? You go and you buy materials, and then you take them home and you work on it, and then what do you do next? You go and buy materials, and then you go and buy materials, and then you go and pick up some more materials from a couple different places, and you're finding who has the best deal on shear wall, and you're driving a half hour across town to get some concrete. Yeah.
I will ask this question.
A house project is going to take your ass out. It's going to take your ass just to the local Lowe's 3 or 4 times a day on a Sunday because you keep forgetting to get shit.
What if it's an emergency? What like a pipe burst or something like that?
That's totally allowed. Plumbers are working. That's considered essential. Plumbers, heating, yeah. An addition, a new kitchen,
yeah.
Taking care of the bathroom. This is not the time. I know it would be convenient. And then on top of that, unless you're really good, at some point you're going to have to get somebody in to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably not going to be just one person. So yeah, anyway, that makes sense. Buying seeds and plants. This is still from the list of Lee Chatfield's tweet, which we talked about those. Fishing if a motor is used. I don't know where that comes from.
No, yeah, it's a lot of people are pissed. You can canoes and kayaks, no boats with motors.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you got to get the gas. You got to.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, and you could be stranded somewhere and had somebody have to come get you.
Yep.
I get it. It makes sense. Anyway, so back to his tweet. Just to name a few, he says, to finish off his list. All these are safe, but the governor says, no, we can ensure safety and be reasonable. Let's do both. There was an addendum to this, too. He says, he also mocked what Whit-ler deems essential and non-essential. Essential in Michigan, marijuana, lottery, and alcohol. So you can't buy seeds, but you can definitely smoke some trees.
Well, we know the marijuana loophole, right? They could say it's medicine.
Yes.
I've still been trying to figure out the lottery one.
Well, I know my marijuana loophole, and that's I don't care what the government says. I deem it as essential.
It's essential to you.
I'm well adapted to finding it on my own. I appreciate your recent involvement, Michigan government, in legalizing it and making it easier and safer for me to consume it. But if it suddenly goes away, I can find it.
Yeah.
Not an issue. And I think in this case, what are people going to do when it comes to procuring alcohol and cannabis? They're not going to sit at home and go, well, this is the perfect time to kick it, literally. No, they're going to be like, fuck this. If I'm going to be at home, cooped up in this house, I'm going to need my alcohol, my whatever.
They're going to be kicking it all right, but not in the way you're talking about.
Yeah, they're going to be kicking it at their buddy's house who actually has a stash. They're going to be out there searching, trying to find somebody who's got some alcohol, talk to somebody, I got to know a bar owner who's got a stash, and now you actually have uncontrolled, because you already know you can't control this, right? If the drug war has proven anything to us, not to get off on a different podcast, but it's that you cannot control certain elements of human behavior.
Nope.
And this goes for sex too. It's not just for drugs. So if you say that this is not essential, so we're going to close these places down, people will do it anyway. So as long as you can keep those places open and then control them, say, okay, you're a liquor store, you can only let X amount of people in your store, your employees have to be tested, you have to have a thermometer, and take the temperature of all your staff twice a day, whatever their requirements are, at least you have some control over that, whereas all those same people going to find their drugs somewhere else, you have absolutely no control over, and the spread would be worse.
Only thing I can think of about the lottery is maybe something's got to fund all these unemployment checks. That's the only rational thing I can come up with the lottery for.
Well, yeah, the government is pumping out money at a time where it's not collecting a whole lot of sales tax and not even the payroll tax that it's used to collecting. And you want to stop the lottery? Like, as long as if the liquor stores and the gas stations are essential, what's it going to hurt?
I can understand the gas stations. Like, when she initially did this, I mean, what did we say the categories were? Food, fuel, medicine, and I always forget the other one. But yeah, so I mean, yeah.
Whatever category sex and drugs falls into.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, and liquor, I mean, my in-laws own a liquor store in Jersey. The loophole there is if you sell a loaf of bread or a carton of milk, you can be, we sell food, we're essential. So, I mean, that's their loophole, too.
Which this is, it's going to be interesting. The sex industry is going to be something that, of course, is going to be majorly affected by this.
Yeah, I bet the cam girl business is booming.
Oh, yeah, supremely. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean,
STDs are way down. Probably. I wonder, have we done that study yet?
Well, if everybody keeps to the social distancing and the precautions and all that, then sex workers are going to be one of those major vectors where people are breaking that social distancing. Ooh. So it's going to make it more dangerous for them health-wise.
Just add another taboo for the adrenaline junkies out there.
It's also, it might even get to the point where, like, your husband comes home with COVID, divorce.
Right.
He was cheating on you. Mm. Where do you think he got that COVID from? Some nasty whore.
Some nasty COVID whore.
Well, really, I mean, because what are everything else all of our other vices, we can control to some point, I'm not going to stop smoking weed, but I might stop sharing a joint. I'm not going to, I might not stop drinking alcohol, but I'll be less inclined to share my drink with somebody or sit crammed up at a bar elbow to elbow with everybody.
Let's be honest, we're in our 40s. That ship has sailed anyway. But I get what you're saying. Yes.
I'm talking generally, not you and I.
Correct.
Yeah. So prostitution, I mean, sure, there might be some of your. I mean, like if you're not going to touch, you might as well just go cam girl. You're really going to pay to masturbate in front of somebody 6 feet away from them?
No, I can do that for free. That's what Louis C.K. taught me.
So nothing's really going to replace. Like, there's still going to be guys that are going to be like, I am going to go fuck a prostitute, and I'm going to take that chance. Right? And when it comes to STDs, you can put a rubber on, but that don't stop the COVID.
No, it does not.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
you can't stop the COVID.
There's many other industries, many other behaviors, things that people like to do. We can all adapt these. The only way you can really adapt the sex industry and still have safety is to just go completely virtual.
Boo.
Well, yeah. I mean, you say boo, but also...
Pornhub's free.
Also, what this means is that this is going to...
oh, wait. I think I know where you're going with this.
It's really going to push the technology for, like, haptic feedback stuff and more realistic virtual reality sex.
Let's say if I make sex dolls, business is going to be booming in the future.
Yeah, sex dolls or just some sort of experience where you can have like a more immersive and type of feedback where you're not pounding your meat.
Get that haptic feedback on my dick.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Technology, great kids.
Yeah. So a loss for the oldest industry in the world might be a gain for masturbation technology.
Trading in our real pussies for robot pussies.
I think, look, that's healthier anyway.
It's true.
For all parties, really.
Robot AIDS with the patch. That's all you need.
I'm not anti-sex. I know certainly there's a lot of people that get into sex work that do so through abuse. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of people that don't, that just are into sex work. And I think it's valid work. It's valid entertainment type industry like many other things are. People exploit themselves in all kinds of different ways to make money. Some of them just don't seem as exploitative as giving up your body, but if you want to really break it down, you give up your body. Well, we all have our bodies at home. But before this, we were all taking our bodies to the man's place of business and sitting in a chair for 8 hours. They're all renting our bodies in one way or another. It's just to what degree is what I'm trying to say. Not to equate my job with sex work.
Yeah, right.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
If you're looking for COVID-19 testing, look into Quest, the lab that's processed over 25 million tests and counting. You can get the same test hospitals use without a doctor visit. Simply order online, select from drive-through or at-home options, and get results sent securely to your phone or computer. It's experience and accuracy you can trust from Quest, the largest medical testing lab in the country. So order today at questcovid19.com. That's questcovid19.com.
Reinvent yourself at UCLA Extension. Explore continuing education programs to enhance and expand your skill set. Gain real-world skills taught by industry experts that you can apply immediately. Learn from anywhere and choose from a wide variety of online courses in entertainment, digital technology, business, engineering, and more. Winter quarter begins January 4th. Learn more at uclaextension.edu.
ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
So, Fauci, he was saying he thinks mid-May we might be able to do things.
Is this gonna be this constantly reignited battle between Fauci and Trump? And the left is really pushing it too. Like every time that Fauci says anything that deviates from what Trump says, they're like, well, Fauci says this, and he disagrees with Trump, and he's out there
It's kids on the playground, right? Fight!
Yeah. Well, he said, what was it in reference to?
If actions would have been taken earlier, we could have saved a whole lot of deaths.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Obviously, this is the big thing. This is especially what the left is glomming onto right now is the fact that Trump is fucking this up and he's causing people to die. I believe that to be true to a degree, but Fauci saying that if we would have acted sooner, we could have prevented more deaths is what a lot of people left out of their headline on this quote. That statement starts with, of course, because he's a doctor and he's talking about facts and not feelings.
Well, of course doesn't make it, of course doesn't make it the sexy headline, Aaron.
Right. But what of course does is puts it in the frame of, yes, anytime you can get ahead of any situation. But that's like saying, well, doctor, isn't it true that the man who died on the highway, if he decided not to go to work that day, he'd still be alive, right? You could have prevented a death by telling that guy not to go to work. Well, but how can you know, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. How can we know until it actually starts happening what's going to actually happen? We can make predictions, but when we've seen this thing spread and affect people in ways that we haven't seen in, I don't know, what?
100 years.
100 years? I was going to say, is it better? Yeah. Like, how do you predict that?
My wife says this all the time. You don't know what you don't know.
Right. So Fauci's statement is merely just saying anytime you can get more ahead of the situation, you're going to be preventing more deaths. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that every time a virus pokes its head up, you shut down the economy.
Yeah.
It means when you start seeing the effects that are as severe as what we've seen, you take the appropriate measures, but you don't do that until you need to. And yes, it's always going to be too late for some people. Sure, it's callous to say that, but it is reality.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That doesn't make for spectacular podcasting, but I agree with you on that point.
So this idea that, like, the left trying to play Fauci against Trump, like, will you please stop?
They did it last week too. I forget what it was, but it was something where they only published the front half of the quote and they left off the back half of the quote, because if they included the back half of the quote, it pretty much it wasn't the sexy headline. It's been happening a lot. I'm with you on that.
Well, there's a lot, like, and they talk about the hydrochloroquine.
Yeah.
Right? So Trump, not being a doctor and also being a complete idiot and a blowhard, gets up there and uses a lot of terms that he thinks mean certain things, and they don't mean what he thinks they mean. And this is tenfold. Like, this is something that when people talk about medical things or scientific things, we do it all the time, I read a lot about science, and I still, like, misuse terms.
Yeah.
Because you don't fully understand. We're just... we don't have a deep understanding of it to know that, when it comes to doctors, when they use certain terms, that means something specific. It's not a general hand-wavy thing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Fauci's going to get up there and he's going to be like, well, yeah, the president said this and that. Here's what we're really talking about in terms of, scientific process, and doctors know this and blah, blah, blah. And so he gets to rephrase it in actual doctor speak. And I think we do need both. I mean, we don't need Trump. We need some sort of foil against the doctor. You need the doctor to go, here's the facts, people. And then you need the politician to say, I know the facts sound really bad, but here's what we're going to do, and here's why it's going to be okay. Right? I don't need my doctor to be comforting, and I don't need my politician to be a doctor. I just need them to have faith in each other.
Yeah. And yeah.
So, and look, Trump isn't going anywhere until Trump's not going to suddenly leave office in the middle of this, and we're going to be left with competent leadership for the remainder of this pandemic. He's going to be there no matter what. Fauci could be fired at any time. It's my understanding. So quit fucking trying to put him in the crosshairs. He's amongst our best hope for a reasonable response to this outbreak.
He is one of the adults in the room.
Stop trying to play him against the guy who you have no power over removing.
Yeah.
I know this is all going to play better for your narrative for the election. And you can say, well, look, even Fauci was saying this and that about him. He didn't trust. I don't think that Fauci trusts him. I don't think that Fauci needs to. Fauci has a job, and Fauci's doing his job. Sometimes the president interrupts that process.
Yeah, I love when Fauci even said, he's like, I can't jump in front of the mic and knock it down.
Yeah.
It was a couple weeks ago. He's like, I can't just go, stop. He's like, I can only get up there and fucking fix it as soon as he's done.
So, best option best outcome for trying to pit Fauci against Trump constantly is getting Fauci fired. And that goes for anybody that is doing anything competently in the administration right now. Praise them. Point out what a good job specific people are doing, and we don't need to have the headlines of who's fucking up, right? It can be inferred. Just report on the people who are doing the good things, and we know, oh, you left out these other people in the administration. Why? Because they're probably not doing shit, or they're doing actual harmful things.
Let's just solve the problem and point the fingers once it's solved.
Yeah.
All we're doing
Stop trying to get the adults in the room fired.
Yeah, all we're doing right now is time's a commodity in a situation like this when we're wasting it trying to point blame. Are there people to blame? Yes, but let's figure that out afterwards. Trust me. In the corporate world, that's what happens all the time, and it drives me insane. Point the fingers once the problem is solved, and let's do that as a country. No, we're asking too much. How long are we doing the show? We are making. But that is just a wild request from both of us for how long we've been doing this show. So,
yeah. And, I was going to say this is it's historic time, right?
Yeah.
A major disaster declared in all 50 states at once.
The entire United States is a disaster area?
Right. Which Trump is taking credit for, which
no.
Yeah, this is not the type of thing that you'd want to take credit for. But anytime he sees the word historic, he's like, that's my presidency, historic.
Yeah. Hey, he did remind me of a word to start sprinkling in my vocabulary again. Monumental. I forgot about that word. Put it into my synonym rotation.
Monumental's a good one. It's got the internal alliteration that works really well. It doesn't, but monumental, I think, has been kind of pushed aside because I think it's ranked so near the bottom of large things. And the English language loves exaggeration, more and more. Well, I should say the American version of English certainly loves exaggeration. Yeah. And I'm doing it right now as I speak, saying they love it. They love it so much, right? Yeah. Everything. We love this. We love that. That's huge. It's gigantic.
Amazing.
It's enormous. Everything's absolutely. Yeah. So, and again, I'm not talking specifically about Trump. He's keyed into the words that he knows that people respond to.
Yes.
He's like fucking Stan Lee. He knows that he puts all new on that comic book, people will buy more of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't know why. He just knows that it works.
Yep.
And it does work. You want to reboot X-Men? All new X-Men. Boom, we sold more of them. All right. But it's got all the same characters. Shut up. This is the all new X-Men.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's the exaggeration of language. So where was I going with this anyway? Monumental. But like monumental, we think of a monument. We think of something somewhere in between the Statue of Lincoln and that tower in Washington.
Yeah, that's true. Some people might actually think of an actual monument.
Even if I don't think of a monument itself, I'm thinking roughly in that size, because we don't make monuments that are like gigantic. Like when we say gigantic, I'm thinking gigantic means it's closer to like Godzilla size. So all I'm saying is in our quest for hyperbole and constantly exaggerating everything, monumental has just been lost because it doesn't have the same effect. I think you'd have to go. You'd have to circle back around. You'd be like, it was a monumental thing that happened, and people, oh yeah, I see.
It's for old people.
No. You don't understand. It was gigantic. Oh, it was gigantic. Yes, gigantically monumental. Oh, okay. I get it now.
Oh, what's the new word that? God damn it! It's one of those words. It's been. It's two words smashed together, and people have used it. It's come on in like the last 10 or 15 years. God damn it!
You're trying to come up with the word for the mashup word?
Yeah, for big. It's for big. It's something that some people think it's a real word, and it drives me nuts every time I hear it.
Ginormous?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People actually think ginormous is a real word now.
No, it is not a word. It is two words smashed together. But you know what, though? If it's in a dictionary, it technically is a word. And Merriam-Webster and the Oxford Dictionary have gone off the rails the last decade or so. So who knows?
Yeah.
Because remember, too, when we were little, they're like, ain't a word. It isn't in a dictionary. And then one year they put it in. We were all our parents. See, no, it's in a dictionary. It's a word now.
Yeah, all words are made up.
Technically. So did you finish Tiger King yet?
No, I actually was going to sit down and watch the rest of it today. And then my computer that I use as my server for everything, my entertainment center, crapped out on me. So
episode 8 came out. Joel McHale hosts. We're about halfway through it.
Oh, that's right. Dude, I'm over it. Like, I wasn't even interested in episode 7. I'm like, what? He goes to jail. I get it. Like, honestly, I don't know. I still stick by my original assessment. It's a half-assed documentary that tries to tell a story that it has no proof for. And
I think Mandy kind of hit the nail on the head today. She's like, it's an inside joke the entire country is in on.
Yeah, I hope
that's
people
half
understand
of the appeal.
that.
Is like she's like we're making fun of these people. I'm like, yes, I'm all for it.
And I don't know why.
But
I don't know why it pushes these buttons for me though. Because here it is. I have a dark sense of humor. I'm not easily offended, but I don't get the gleefulness of the adoption of Joe Exotic and his hatred for Carol. Right? This guy is disgustingly threatening her life openly and then tries to pay somebody to kill her. And that wasn't all I heard about Tiger King before I watched it was Carol fed her husband to the tigers. Something that they repeat over and over again in that show, but it's only word of mouth. They show absolutely zero evidence for anything funny happening to that guy except for him just disappearing into the wind. I just think it's really well done in the way of entertainment, certainly. It's a lot better than most of the reality shows on TV, but
it's the biggest documentary of all time. I mean, there's...
Yeah.
And Mandy was like,
but it's not a good documentary. It's not a good documentary. It's just it's a limited reality TV show, a limited series reality TV show.
She brought up the point of shouldn't we feel bad? We're making, the entire, like I said, the entire country's making fun of these people. I said, everybody got paid. Everyone was a willing participant. Everyone's getting paid now. Everyone's, they don't care.
Well, yeah, look, Carol gets to go out there and say that I'm being unfairly prosecuted, and it's only because of the stance that I've taken on animal rights, and she gets to build her cause with that.
Yeah, and
they get to build their cause with their message. And
I'm sure her
Joe
YouTube
Exotic
channel
gets exactly what he wants, which is just attention.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's good or bad attention. He just wanted attention.
I bet you Carol's YouTube channel now has like double the subscribers it had.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And Joe's he got what he wanted. He's huge now. He's an international star. While he's in jail.
I didn't see anyone being exploited on that show.
Hey, the animals.
And that's why I place it a notch above a reality TV show. Reality TV show is taking somebody who doesn't have isn't a celebrity already usually, or needs money, or is in need of something. Just, put me on TV, find me a husband, give me a lot of money, something like that. They're exploiting those people. This was giving people who this is putting out a platform that people joyfully jumped up on top of.
Oh, absolutely. And
shouted their cause to the world. And that's why this documentary so easily goes to 7 and now 8 episodes, because they were just a never-ending fountain of truth, their own version of truth. But they would these people would just spew it. It's like you hear the producer or whatever, he asks a question like maybe 5 or 6 times in the whole series. And every other time it's just, I'm going to turn this camera on, and the person just starts going into their spiel.
Yeah. Man, what are you going to do to back that one up, Netflix? You came out of the quarantine gate strong. Good luck with that. I mean, yeah, they cobbled together episode 8. They said Joel McHale interviews. About halfway through it.
Netflix, I guess, has a huge backlog of shows and movies and stuff. They have stuff that they are just sitting on.
Oh, wow.
And looking for probably strategic release dates that they can put stuff that'll interrupt things. So that, like, there's a Charlize Theron starring movie that's done. It's based on a comic that came out a few years ago. Really great comic about these like unkillable warriors. Like basically at any given time, there's 5 people on the earth that just can't die unless you like really just completely grind them into pulp. And anyway, doesn't matter what it's about, but it stars Charlize Theron, and they filmed it, and it's done, and it's not coming out not because it's bad, not from what I've heard at least. Everyone involved is very well respected. It's expected to be a huge hit, so they're just sitting on it, waiting for somebody to go, somebody like HBO or Disney or something like that to make a big move and go, oh, we're coming out with a big movie or we're a new streaming platform or some new service. And Netflix just goes, guess what? Tomorrow, new Charlize Theron movie.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, yeah, I guess you can do that when you're Netflix. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, this was what? The company that sent you movies in the mail?
Yeah.
That's how this started?
It's kind of bizarre where they ended up.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think it's a smart business model what they've done. I don't necessarily agree with it as a consumer, because all of the stockpile of stuff that they have that nobody has seen yet was all made off of the money that they made on TV shows that they've canceled after 3 seasons. There's been many TV shows that Netflix has just kind of left in the dust in search of the newer, sexier thing. And I don't know. I think long term, it's not a great plan for keeping people coming back. It's one thing, like something like Tiger King, it's kind of different. But if you're going to present a new drama to somebody, like, am I going to want to want to get involved with a drama if I know that it's going to end on a cliffhanger on season 2 and there's never going to be a season 3? That that's a very real possibility.
Netflix is, again, it's something I'm coming to terms with. Netflix doesn't care about us anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, neither does NBC and ABC and all that. At least, though, you'd get your show canceled midway in the season, and then you just go, okay, now I know there's never going to be any more.
Once you hit 40, you're cut adrift into old people land. Bloop. Maybe they care about you a little bit from 40 to 54, but yeah, generally.
Well, no, but I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about many people who are enjoying the content on Netflix.
Yeah, but they're going after the 18 to 40, 18 to 35.
And those people are going to stop paying for Netflix if Netflix keeps canceling their shows after 2 seasons.
But I'm just saying maybe those people have come up in the environment where things don't last. We might be one of the last age groups to...
Nah, I mean, not from my experience. Those are the ones that are the most vocal about when their shows get canceled.
Fair. But I'm saying...
And more likely to go, oh, I'm done with Netflix.
But just we might be one of the last age groups to have come up with something that lasted for 7, 8, 9 seasons. The new norm seems to be like, if you go past 3, you're running long. At least in the last 5 years. I forget who we were talking about.
I don't think so. I think it's more about... It's more about how much time does the story need, right? It's not about whether something lasts 3 seasons or 5 seasons or 8 seasons. It's, does it have a nice ending? Does it get to tell all the story, or does it tell its story and then just kind of keeps going and has, a couple bad seasons before it gets canceled?
Well, I think it was Crashing. What was it? Greg Fitzsimmons was the head writer, and pretty much said that now they pretty much just plan for 3 seasons. Like he was writing a show, I think it was for Netflix or for Hulu, and it's like at this point they just plan for 3 seasons, and that's it.
Well, if it's for Netflix, then he's talking specifically about how Netflix almost never gives a 4th season to a show. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, it depends on the show. It totally depends on the show. 3 seasons could be perfect. 3 seasons could be all that you need of a show.
Well, and if you have 3 seasons and you're on HBO, it's going to take 6 fucking years. So that's the new trend I do not like, the every other year. You can take that and shit can that. You can't get your... I'm all for it. I've come to accept the shorter TV seasons. I'm fine with those if that means you're going to have a better story and a better production value. If you do that in less episodes, I'm fine with that. But you can't do it every year. I don't know. That's just, we've talked about that. I'm not a fan of that every other year trend that HBO has started. Are you that uncreative? You can't do it every year. If your process needs a year breather, maybe you're not that creative.
No, this is why we're getting more creative shows on television, because we're not putting them on a strict schedule. HBO's not going, this show needs to be ready for first week of September. The show's ready when it's ready.
Yeah, but it can be ready when it's ready in the next calendar year. You can come out April this year and October next year. That's a good year and a half. All right. But yeah, thanks to everyone who has been listening. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Unregimented, on Twitter at UnregimentedPod. You can email us at unregimented@ChristopherMedia.net, which is where a PayPal banner is. You can click through there. If you want to donate, subscribe. There's an Amazon banner there as well, where you can click through and help us out while you're ordering everything online now until the end of time, like everybody else. We are on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, ChristopherMedia.net, the iHeartRadio app. Anywhere there's a podcast, you can check us out. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net. If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.